Many seniors believe eye floaters are just a normal part of aging, those drifting spots, strands, or shadows that show up against a bright sky or white wall. But what feels like aging is often something more dangerous: oxidation, dehydration, and silent inflammation building up in the eye's most delicate tissue. But if you watch this episode, you will find the good news, because floaters may not be permanent, and nature offers more support than you think. Welcome back to the Senior Health Podcast, where science and lived experience meet to help you age with strength and clarity. Today, we're exploring how floaters can fade, not through surgery, but with daily habits that nourish and clear the eye from within. Now, hear me out. New research is revealing that some natural compounds, including ones found in everyday foods, may do more than we ever expected. They're helping older adults see more clearly, with fewer floaters and less visual noise. What you will learn from this episode may be exactly what your eyes need. And sitting across from me today is someone who's treated vision loss for over a century and still believes in the body's power to repair itself. He's Japan's oldest practicing doctor, and what he shares today may help you see your life more clearly, starting now.
It's good to be here, John. Most people think vision is only about the eyes, but it's not. The eyes are messengers, and when they become clouded, it's often the result of deeper imbalances. The water we don't drink, the nutrients we don't absorb, the quiet inflammation we ignore until it shows up in our sight.
That perspective shifts everything, because most of us just wait it out. We're told floaters are harmless, part of getting older, something to tolerate. But what if they're not just specks, but signals?
Exactly. Floaters are not always dangerous, but they are never meaningless. They tell us the vitreous is changing. The fluid that once was clear and firm is now thinning, shrinking, collapsing. And that is not just age. It's a process we can slow, even soften, if we know how to respond.
You mean it's not the eyes breaking down, it's the body's signals fading out?
Yes, so in this episode I'm going to guide you through 4 natural tools, gentle, simple habits that take just minutes a day, but together they can help reduce floaters, restore clarity, and bring your vision back into focus. And stay with me until the end, because one of these tools could shift how you see the world, in more ways than one.
You know, I actually heard about a patient not long ago, 68 years old, who worried about his eyes. He said he kept seeing specks floating around like dust on water. He thought it was just part of aging, something he had to live with. But when the natural solutions we'll be sharing in this episode were introduced, those shadows began to fade. He said it felt like wiping a window clean.
That's exactly it. That's why I urge people to stay for this episode. The clarity is still there. It just needs to be uncovered, and you just need to know how.
So let's begin with the very first step in this natural approach, Doctor. I'm handing it over to you.
Okay, let's begin with the foundation. Hydration. Most people think of it as just drinking water, but it's much more than that. The vitreous inside the eye, the gel that supports your vision, is mostly water. And when the body is dehydrated even slightly, the gel begins to shrink and clump, casting the shadows we call floaters.
So it's not just about drinking more, it's about when and how.
Exactly. The body absorbs water differently, depending on timing, temperature, and what it's paired with. Warm water in the morning, before caffeine or food, helps rehydrate the tissues that have dried overnight, and adding a pinch of sea salt or a splash of citrus can help the cells hold onto that moisture.
That's fascinating. I've always heard about drinking water, but I never considered how the eye depends on it so directly. And it makes sense why floaters could increase during travel or after too much coffee.
Yes, and in older adults, the thirst reflex weakens, so we don't feel the need to drink even when the body is asking for it. Over time, the vitreous becomes stringy, like gelatin left out too long, and the shadows increase. Not because the eye is failing, but because its environment is being neglected.
That line, the eye isn't failing but neglected, that hits hard.
It happens so quietly, and then one day we look up and wonder why the world looks cloudy. The good news is that rehydration, done consistently, begins to soften the vitreous again and reduce those shadows.
It makes me think differently about these signs. We brush them off as just age, but what if there's something more? A gentle nudge to look inward and change course. Please stay with me, everyone, because I have a feeling what comes next will blow your mind. Doctor, what is the second natural tool that helps reduce floaters? And how does it work?
The second tool is one many overlook because it's such a familiar fruit. When eaten fresh, it delivers bromelain, a natural enzyme that's shown promise in reducing inflammation and clearing cellular debris in the body, including the vitreous of the eye. Some Japanese studies, as well as recent research in Taiwan and the Philippines, suggest bromelain may help soften the oxidized clumps that become floaters.
Wait, doctor, what fruit are we talking about here?
Pineapple, John. But it must be raw, fresh pineapple, not canned, juiced, or sugared.
Wait, you're saying a slice of pineapple could actually reduce floaters?
In some cases, yes. It's not a miracle and it doesn't work overnight. But for those whose floaters are caused by protein breakdown and oxidative stress, the enzyme can gently help clean the inner eye.
That feels almost too simple. And yet, it fits with everything you've taught us. That aging isn't failure, it's friction, buildup, imbalance.
Exactly. Pineapple, when paired with proper hydration, becomes part of a daily ritual of clearing. Some patients report changes within a week, others over several months. And of course, not everyone responds the same. Bodies absorb enzymes differently, and some floaters are more stubborn than others.
So this isn't a quick fix, but a gentle nudge.
Yes, and that's important to understand. We're not dissolving floaters with acid. We're helping the body restore clarity using the tools nature already gave us.
And bromelain specifically, how does it work in the eye?
Bromelain is a proteolytic enzyme, which means it helps break down proteins, the kind that can oxidize and clump inside the vitreous. Once absorbed, it circulates through the body, potentially reducing systemic inflammation and supporting cleanup of waste material. Its benefits aren't limited to the eyes. It supports the immune system, digestion, even joint health.
So the eyes are really just one of many areas it helps.
Yes, but they are often the first place we notice a change, because vision is immediate. We see the cloudiness go, and the world returns sharper. That feedback makes people more consistent.
That makes me think, how many of us are chasing complex treatments while the answers might be sitting in the fruit bowl?
It happens more often than you think. We are taught to look far before we look near. And sometimes the simplest tools, hydration, sunlight, a slice of fresh fruit, hold the greatest power when used with intention.
It's humbling, really. We spend years adding supplements, adjusting medications, searching for specialists. And here you are saying, start by listening to what your body has quietly been asking for. You've given us hydration and pineapple, both easy to start today. Now let's continue to tool number 3, shall we?
Yes, stay with me, everyone. Tool number 3 is what I call the stillness reset. It's a daily moment of focused stillness, where the eyes and breath align just for 30 seconds. You gently close the eyes, breathe through the nose, and allow the face to soften, especially the area around the eyes and temples. This reduces tension in the optic nerve and allows blood and cerebrospinal fluid to circulate more freely through the visual cortex.
So you're saying we can influence vision just by doing nothing?
Not nothing, but something very precise. Stillness is often more active than movement, and in this case, it helps interrupt the constant strain we put on the visual system.
That's such a shift in thinking. We're always told to stimulate, to activate, to train. But here, you're telling us to release, to let go.
Yes, because the eye isn't just seeing, it's reacting to light, to stress, to the endless stream of information we force through it. When we allow the muscles around the eyes to soften, the eye stops fighting and begins healing.
You mentioned the muscles. Are they really that involved?
Very much so. There are 6 tiny muscles controlling each eye's movement, and they are constantly adjusting, often under unconscious tension. That tightness pulls on the eyeball itself, distorting the way light moves through the vitreous. Over time, it contributes to the clumping and stringing that cause floaters.
And releasing that tension, it really makes a difference.
Yes, especially when done daily. You don't need candles or silence or even a special place. Just sit, close your eyes, inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 6. Do it twice. Then open your eyes slowly and blink with intention.
I've never once thought about blinking with intention.
Because we don't. We spend hours staring, squinting, straining, and the blink reflex slows. That means less moisture, less protection, more visual noise.
That's powerful. We take in so much strain, screens, routines, rushing, and never stop to ask what it's doing to our vision. Hydration and nutrients rebuild. But this feels like a full-body reset. Now, if you are still paying attention, stay with us a little longer because there's one final tool left, and I have a feeling it's the piece that brings everything together. Doctor, what is it?
The final tool is movement, but not just any movement. It's a specific pattern of shifting focus between near and far, paired with gentle head motion. This helps retrain the eye's internal lens to adapt, stretch, and refocus, which supports both the muscles and the fluid inside. It also stimulates circulation through the optic nerve and deepens the brain's coordination with vision.
So it's like physical therapy, but for the eyes?
That's a good way to put it. We often forget the eyes need exercise too. But unlike lifting weights, this is about precision, rhythm, and light attention.
And when you say near and far, how exactly is that practiced?
You sit somewhere calm, hold your thumb a few inches in front of your face and focus on it. Then shift your gaze to something across the room or out the window and hold that focus for a few seconds. Back and forth, gently, 5 to 10 times.
It almost sounds meditative, like it resets something in the nervous system.
It does. This shifting re-engages the eye's flexibility, which we lose when we spend hours looking only at one distance. Like a screen, it also encourages the vitreous fluid to stay mobile rather than settling into clumps. Think of it as stirring the water to keep it clear.
So it's less about seeing better in the moment, and more about keeping the system fluid and alive.
Exactly. Floaters love stagnation, but the eyes were built for motion, adaptation, and light. When we reintroduce that motion, even gently, we remind the whole system how to stay clear.
That reminds me, I've noticed on days I'm outside more or walking without looking at my phone, my vision actually feels less strained.
That's because movement in nature gives the eyes exactly what they were designed for: wide focus, shifting light, and distance. These inputs recalibrate the eye's internal systems far more than any screen or artificial light can.
That gives me a whole new appreciation for something so simple. We've covered hydration, nutrition, stillness, and now movement. 4 tools that cost nothing, but give so much back. And what I'm realizing, as we pull them together, is that floaters might not be a fixed condition at all. They're a sign, a quiet message that something needs adjusting. Which makes me wonder, if we truly commit to these practices, how far can the body go in clearing the view?
There are other options? Yes, but they come with weight. Some try supplements like vitrecap, which showed promise in early studies. Others use diluted atropine drops to blur the floaters temporarily. And in more persistent cases, procedures like laser vitreolysis or vitrectomy are used to break up or remove the floaters altogether.
But those come with risks, don't they?
They do. Surgery especially is invasive, and not without complications like cataracts or retinal detachment. That's why in my practice I always start with the natural path. Because if the body can do the work safely, that's the greatest victory of all.
That makes sense, and I think many of our listeners are looking for that. A place to start that doesn't feel extreme. Something that works with the body, not against it.
And that's what these 4 tools offer. They don't shock the system. They remind it. Hydration restores the medium of vision. Nutrition feeds the cellular repair. Stillness resets the nervous system, and movement reawakens the coordination between eye and brain. When used together, they begin to shift not just vision, but how we relate to our bodies.
It's almost like floaters become less of a problem and more of a messenger, a chance to notice what's been neglected and begin again. I think that's what gives people hope, not just that something can change, but that it can change gently.
Exactly. We often think healing must be hard, but sometimes it's about consistency, not intensity. A warm glass of water, a walk outside, a single slice of pineapple. These are not small when done with care.
And that care, it's something we can choose each day.
Yes, and when we do, the eyes often respond faster than we expect.
That's the takeaway I'm leaving with today. Please, if you are still listening, we need you to comment and like the video. Have you any questions? Tell us where you are watching from and hope to see you in the next episode.